Big 12 Radio. This is Big 12 Today, exclusively on TuneIn. And we are so pleased to be joined right now by the commissioner of the Big 12, Brett Yormark, is joining us here to talk about this landmark deal, the Big 12 entering a historic partnership with PayPal. So, aside from the obvious in terms of being a revenue stream for the conference and for its member institutions, why is this a big deal?
Well, first of all, guys, thanks for having me today. And I want to take a step back for a second. When I took this job in July of 22, there was a couple of things I said. One, we were open for business, and that meant that I wanted to explore every and all opportunity to create value for this conference. I also wanted to get on the consciousness of current and future student athletes. I wanted to be a conference of innovation. I wanted to be the most culturally relevant conference. And if I could do all those things, then the conference would be certainly destinational when you think about the current and future Big 12. A partnership with PayPal and Venmo checks all those boxes. I mean, if you think about PayPal and Venmo, they are the most culturally relevant payment platform in the world. They have the first and second most popular mobile payment apps in the US. They have over 400 million customers, wow, both consumers and merchants globally. So this is a huge win for our conference, for our key stakeholders, student athletes, member institutions. And one of the things that I'm really, really pleased about, beyond just the obvious, it's the first time in the history of the conference where we as a conference integrated our assets with our school assets, and we're able to go into the marketplace with a meaningful program, and in this particular case, a meaningful business solution for a global brand like PayPal and Venmo. So it really hits a lot of the things that I've been trying to accomplish. Obviously, there's some economics to the package and to the partnership that are beneficial to our schools, but it does check a lot of boxes based on the vision we have for this conference. Now, we all know revenue share starts July 1, and as part of that, you want to make sure that as you move money and distribute money to our student athletes, it's done in the most secure way, the safest way. It's reliable. I mean, there is no one better than PayPal and Venmo, and they are ubiquitous on campus already. I just got some data the other day. There's about 19.8 million students across campuses all around the country. About half of them currently have a Venmo account. So if you think about matching the demographic with a particular product that makes sense, and you think about wanting to do things that are authentic, this partnership is world class. So I'm really excited about it. And the CEO Alex Chris is with me today. We're doing a little bit of a media junket. He's thrilled, and even though we just announced 2 conferences, I do see this opportunity moving beyond the 2 conferences that we announced today, and other conferences are already making their calls to PayPal. PayPal's engaged with lots of different conferences, so this could create some uniformity across the ecosystem, which I also think is a real positive.
Yeah, what does this mean for the fans and the listeners of the schools that we cover here on Big 12 Radio? What does it mean for the schools themselves?
Well, listen, we're enhancing the value from the standpoint of the conference. What the impetus for me every day, the driver for me every day is to create value for our member institutions, both strategically and financially. This does both. In addition, we announced it earlier today, there'll be debit cards, for each of our schools, co-branded debit cards, between PayPal and obviously our member institutions, and anyone on campus, student athletes, students, alumni, are going to have that badge of honor if they want and they so desire it in their wallet, as a debit card. So they'll see activations around this program that they can take advantage of. But from a member institution standpoint, obviously, we've created a great and safe solution to paying our student athletes, and while also doing that, we the schools get to share in some of the economics.
Yeah, I mean, and it feels like there's so many more opportunities as offshoots of this. I mean, the licensing piece, I'm sure fans of these schools would love like a PayPal or Venmo license, for their school, debit card that is associated with that. I'm sure when it comes to concessions, like there feels like there's so much more to this than just that, the rev share piece.
100%. I mean, you'll see PayPal and Venmo infused on campus. To your point, or point of sale. We announced today you'll be able to use your debit card at point of sale, bookstore, concessions, buy your tickets. They have aspirations for tuition as well. So I do believe that as ubiquitous as they are, on campus right now, they're going to double down, on that position, and they're going to be part of the everyday life on campus, which I think is critically important.
Talking with the Big 12 Commissioner, Brett Yormark, here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, exclusively on TuneIn. The deal is $100 million over the next 5 years. So what does that do in terms of opening up other doors and what we could see from a conference perspective? I know that the individual member institutions will see a piece of that, but big picture for the league, what does that do for the conference?
Well, I mean, what it does for us, I mean, obviously we distribute all of our, revenue, less the operating expenses of the conference to our schools, and we're good operators. So we're trying to maximize whatever we can give to our schools, more so now than ever before. So the economics of the deal certainly are very, very positive. But as I said earlier, this is the first time that we've kind of locked arms with the schools to say, hey, we're at 16 now. Let's leverage the scale of being 16 strong in 10 states with 90 million people in our footprint. And how do we go into the commercial marketplace and be able to provide some real meaningful business solutions? And, this is a great example of what we can do when we work together. And we obviously work very closely with our schools' MMR partners. They're a big part of this, and they've been wonderful to work with. But this is the way we need to be selling into the marketplace. Versus the bifurcated approach that we've had. And listen, there are going to be times when the schools have to do things on their own and they do it well with their MMR partners. But there's other times when we should come together and leverage the scale of 16 like we did in this particular instance. And I think it provides new and different types of opportunities. And candidly, there's opportunities for us to really monetize, this newfound reach and composition of the Big 12.
Yeah, and more to the point, look, this is the way that professional sports leagues operate. Obviously, your history with the NBA, like there are individual commercial deals that these teams will do, but collectively, there are a lot of deals the NBA or the NFL will do for the group that's better than getting a individual deal.
That's exactly right. You couldn't have said it better than me. Listen, I look at us as an emerging business enterprise at the Big 12. Okay, that's kind of how I think about our business, and we want to act like some of the big professional leagues and how we leverage the scale and the reach to provide real opportunity. And I think we can do that. Now, no different than when I was the CEO of the Nets. We were out there in the marketplace on our own, selling nationally or regionally or locally. But to your point, there were times when the NBA came to many of the teams, in the case of, let's say, the official watch to SO, and said, hey, let's rally around all the teams and do a deal with the teams and the league. So having the flexibility to do those types of programs, I think is terrific. This is the first of its kind for us, and hopefully there's more to follow.
Brett, do you have any updates on the college football playoff formatics, what you're in favor of and why? And has your line of thinking changed at all since we talked to you last?
Well, my line of thinking hasn't changed. We had a good meeting of the commissioners last week. We didn't really get into format all that much. I think it was well publicized that we spent some time thinking about, the selection process and how do we refine it and make it better? And are there tweaks? And obviously Mac Rhodes, the AD at Baylor, is stepping into that chair seat. And he is committed to raising the bar. I mean, that's what you do in life, right? You want to continue to raise the bar. And he's doing that, spending a lot of time with his colleagues on the selection committee and figuring out ways to be better. And, how do you look at guiding principles? And how do you look at, the different metrics that we use? And are there other metrics that could play a role? Are we using data the right way? the weekly reporting that is done with the conferences. Should there be some a standard, and should it be more uniform? There's lots of different things we're talking about, and I think at the right time, we'll then transition back into discussing the format, which could be later this summer. But I thought we had a healthy conversation amongst the commissioners last week. I really did.
I know you're not exactly in the prediction business, but if you were to predict, do you think we'd have a 12-team playoff going into 2026-27 or a 16-team playoff?
Well, I like 16. I've been pretty vocal about it. I think more access is good, but then there's a point in time where, access could create dilution, okay, and water down the product a little bit. And I don't think 16 does that. So I like 16. And as I said during my spring business meetings, after meeting with, our coaches and our ADs, 5-11 was what I like. And candidly, and I've said this to fans, it's not ideal for us today.
Right.
But I'm betting on the Big 12. I'm betting on the fact that we're going to continue to invest in our programs. I'm betting on the fact that settlement creates, in theory, a level playing field, okay? When everyone can only spend up to the cap, you can't circumvent it. And if you try, there'll be rules, okay, that are going to be punitive if you break those rules. So in theory, it should create a level playing field settlement. So I want to win it on the field. And I'm betting on the Big 12 that we're going to continue to get better. And you have the conference champion dynamic, but then also 11 at larges that you're fighting for, and I like that format. And we'll see where we land.
Up and away. There's so much incredible growth with this conference, and we're excited as Big 12 Radio to be front and center for all of it, and even soon enough to be close to you guys, the Big 12 offices with Big 12 studios. So a lot going on. Congrats on this incredible monumental deal for the conference, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.
Hey, guys, thank you. And by the way, I'm seeing all those renderings of what this studio is going to look like. You're going to have a nice home to go to. I like it.
Cannot wait. We can't wait to get out of this closet. Thanks so much, Commish. Take care.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.